Welcome back to another episode of DIY or Die, and today we're going to be fixing a lawnmower here. It's got an oil leak coming from the oil pan gasket right there, so let's take this motor off the mower here and I'll be back. Here we go. Here we go, got it off the mower. So, the problem is it's this guy right here, that gasket along there. It's leaking on. I'll get a flashlight here. As you can see, all through there it's weeping oil. So unless the block is split on this, which is really unlikely, that's the only spot it can leak from here. This might have been weeping a bit. I really don't think so. So it looks like it's just a simple bit of RTV, and that should be all it is. Basically free to fix this. So let's get to taking this plastic crap off the top here. Here we go. So let's get this thing started here. First things first, you want to take these top bolts off here, get the recoil off, and then the shroud off. So these are just 10 mils here. Here we go. Don't forget about these lock washers here. They're on many of the components that tend to vibrate off. You don't want to lose those. Just recoil. And take the shrouds off. Or the shroud. You have to take the gas cap off, which smells like there's gas in there. Alright, there's the bare engine now at least. Okay, next step, we're going to want to take the air filter off here. Oof, that is a terrible filter. It's bloody rusting. Junk. These are also 10 mils here. One on either side there. I can even zoom in for you if you want. So I got one there, and one right there. Take these guys off. Here we go. Now there's a spacer here which goes on this bolt there. And that is used on this guy here, which connects to here. There's a spacing between this plastic housing and here. That's to keep it so you don't crack this housing. This just pulls off. That's your PCV hose here, and then it just redirects into the intake for emissions purposes. You can delete those if you want. Just put a one-way valve and then just a little redirection hose straight up or out if you want. It doesn't gum up your intake as easy. Okay, so stop here. So the next step can be getting these bolts off here. These guys should all be 10 mils. This one's got these little top cap type things, top hats. Just another spacer type thing. And these look like long 10 mil sockets are required for these guys here. All 10 mils. Sorry, quarter stretch. Well, these guys are out here, 3 of those. And you got one more little 10 mil right here. I can pick this whole thing up. Just right there if you can catch that on the magneto. Oops, right there. There it is. That little square thing right there. That's your magneto. Got your ground wire for your magneto. This goes to your kill switch. This just pulls off. Can't get it out yet, so we'll have to take off. Right here, you can see. I have to take this guy off right there. Now this is basically an automatic choke mechanism on these series of mowers. It's right on the muffler there. And how that works is it goes... there's a bimetallic strip right here, and it twists this shaft here, which turns the choke on the intake. That's how that works. Works pretty good. Doesn't choke it when it's hot, but when it's cold it chokes. 2 muffler bolts on the side. And this last bolt here, or sorry, nut. Free that. Just careful not to bend this shaft here on that auto choke, but magneto's fine. Hasn't cracked or anything. Spark wire looks pretty good, and there's no rotting really, so that can be reused. There's the shroud and the 2 rusty bolts. Got the muffler there. This is your heat shield. And your gasket right there. Hang on to those. Those can usually be reused. We're going to want to switch back to a 10 short socket. And just get the 1 bolt right on this side here. It's the 10 mil. And there you go. There's the muffler. It's a bit rusted, but it'll work. The next step, you take the oil filler tube out. Another 10 mil again. And these guys just kind of wiggle them out. And it looks like we got a bit of oil in there. And I'll be back with a can to pour this oil in here. Found myself a jug. And now we'll just dump the oil in there. It's hard to hold an engine like this. Okay. Well, we got that out of the way. Now it's going to be time for the worst and most messy part, probably, which is going to be the gas tank. So, get yourself a set of vice grips before you do this. And you just want to pinch off the line going from the bottom of the tank right there. Just pinch that off. Just enough to where you won't damage the line, but enough to where you don't get covered in gasoline. And then I always use channel locks because the way they're curved to get the small hose clamp off at the end there. There we go. Carb's going to be full of a little bit of gas, but that's fine. Not leaking, as you can see. And now we got a couple of 10 mils up at the top here. Take the last, or at least what remains of the fuel tank and gas out of here. There we go, that ought to do it here. These guys just push through these little brackets here that the tank sits on. Take your clamp off with your tank upright so it doesn't leak, and pull it off like that because it goes through two holes. Well, you can't really see them by the governor arm here. And there goes the gas. Just makes the table cleaner. Okay. There we go, that's done. The next step is we're going to want to take the flywheel off now. So there's a big old 3/4 inch nut in there. I recommend you grab an impact for this one. Watch your hands, but should buzz it off. Wasn't even on there too bad, not even rusted. You get this little guy, plastic little fan. Take that off, and then the flywheel's right here. It's press fit on. I'll leave this for last. This is the hardest part, the flywheel. Carb should just slide off here. You got a little bit more of the linkage to get rid of here, but we're getting there. So this is what we have to get off here. This is the auto choke here. So what you're gonna want to do is we're going to want to disconnect this bit here. So you have to pull up and out. Careful not to bend anything. And the first thing you want to do is disconnect these two here. Let me zoom out a bit. These two guys right there going to this linkage. Really hard to see, but there you go. And then you're left with this assembly here. And you can take this off or leave it. I'm just going to leave it. So next step, take off governor arm assembly here. Again, 10 mil. All these bolts are going to be 10 mil. Spring off for the governor arm. Bracket can come off now. There's that, and that's where your fuel line goes through these two holes here. This guy can stay on actually. It'll be easier just to leave this on because we're just doing this. So that'll be fine. Now we're going to take apart the brake and kill switch assembly here. Watch out for the spring. This one's strong and don't want to get yourself pinched anywhere when you're taking this off. There we go. There's your spring, and it forces this little brake pad there on the side of the flywheel. So when you release your paddle on your mower, it'll cut the spark, and then it drags on the side of this flywheel here to stop the engine quickly. Kind of rotate it now. Seems to have good compression. Turns over smooth. So yeah, this thing's a good engine. It just needs a little bit of gasket job, that's all. You don't need this. This stuff just gets in the way. Just make sure you got the order stuff where it goes. Shield spacer, and then gasket. Intake looks pretty clean, that's good. Exhaust isn't too bad. So, now the fun is going to be getting this guy off here and the flywheel off. So first things first, I'm going to put some penetrant on there and we'll be back after it sits for a bit. Here we go. I use Deep Creep. I think it works pretty good, so that's what I'd recommend for penetrant. So most of you guys out there probably won't have a gear puller, which is what you need for this. It's a 3-jaw puller, and then you center it on there, and then it just pops off. But if you don't have that, what I would do, and I'm going to show you how to do, is you start at the bottom with this guy. Fix this for you here. Start at the bottom, on the bottom pulley. Apply some penetrant and then take this guy off first. That way you can take off the oil pan and then basically you hammer this through and then the flywheel just comes off. It's much easier that way. Anything with rust, you're going to want to heat up, so heat this guy up here. Heat this up for a minute or two and we'll be back. Here we go. Okay, we got that good and hot. Now, just get basically, because of the thin spacing here, just wedge right there, if you can see that. Just wedge something thick like this flathead screwdriver in between there and then gently tap it out. And it should come free pretty easy, as you can see. Just need to not burn myself. And there you have it. There's your pulley. Put that somewhere where it's not going to light something on fire. Give this guy a wipe down. And you're going to want to clean this right here off pretty good, because when you're pulling it through that oil seal, crank seal, any little imperfections are going to get caught probably. So wipe that down and then we'll get some emery cloth and sand that off here. I'll be back. So just got some 600 grit here. Get on there. The higher heat differential between the inner shaft and the outer one, or vice versa, the better. Especially when it comes to trying to use thermal expansion to get things off. So you want to heat it up as quickly as you can and then get it off before it heat soaks to the other parts and then they're the same size again. Now we can flip over to the other side again. Looks like the gasket's actually just slipped in there. It doesn't even... Either way, it needs a new gasket. Just interesting that it fell out. I'm going to try to heat this up, and then be able to get it off. I don't think it's very loose. No. And this, if you're gonna do this way without a puller, just don't reef on this like this, because these are aluminum soft fragile cast aluminum, and these fins are easy to snap. Anything's easy to snap on here. So if you are gonna pry, just put some wood under there or something and go gentle, because these things are pretty easy to break actually. Oh, I'll quickly try this here. Yeah, that's not working. Try gently tapping this with the hammer, but I don't. So, the next order of operations would be taking off the head here. That'll give us a good idea of this engine's health anyways. So this is overhead cam, so we're gonna have to deal with push rods. So this is just a valve cover. Clean valve cover. This engine was at least somewhat taken care of. This guy hands full. Shook things around there, got the oil out, and again on either side, make sure this is clean now. And make sure you don't get any schmuck on the inside of here. Again, two 10 mils here. It's time for a proper wrench. Good work. Easy peasy now. Gasket. Ooh, too much. There we go. Okay, well, this way. There we go. Ooh, just about dropped it. This whole assembly can go there. And this thing is still full of oil. I'll be back with a vacuum. This is a vacuum pump I made out of a fridge. Not quite sure why there's so much left in there. That's like another liter. I find that pretty weird, considering I emptied it. Or so I thought. Okay, there we go. So now let's take this bottom of the motor off here. Let's take the oil pan off. Now these guys are going to be 8mm bolts. So Those guys are done. And I don't think I see any more in there. So now, these oil pans tend to get stuck, so you just kind of gotta jump down here. As you can see, there's a slight crack starting to form. Not crack, I should say, but gap. Okay, we got her basically open here. Final stretch. I'll be back once I figure out what's going on here. So, in doing that, the flywheel came off, so that wasn't on there very good. But this thing sure as heck is on there. Like I said earlier, that this seal is tight, so you really gotta kind of wail on this thing. Just don't wail on it enough where you dent this. It is steel, but just be careful. There we go. Got that off. This is off here. Now this seal honestly can be reused, I bet. Hasn't been damaged at all, just needs to be cleaned a bit. Some scoring on the inside here. I can catch that in the light. You can see. Definitely has been some, but overall, it's not too bad. Alright, so now all we have to do is this right here. Came off pretty easy. Clean this up here, put some RTV on there, nice thin layer, don't spread it out and don't use too much. Just a little bit, it'll spread out nice. You don't want excess getting so it sticks out of here and bulges in here and leaves bits in the engine and stuff. You don't want that. As for the engine, looks like, one, I'll clean this out, but give you close up here at the cylinder. There, I can turn it a bit. Yeah, I don't know if you can catch that. But you can see a little wear mark. But honestly, I can't feel it with my fingernail. It's not a huge lip or anything. It's not badly worn. And in a lot of places, it still has the factory cross hatching on it. If you can get that, I hope you can. Maybe right there. So that's good news. I'm thinking, because of that, just need to get the carbon off the cylinder, or sorry, off the piston. No rings are required, just a little bit of a sealant job. And then it'll be good to go again. So clean this up and we'll be back when we're ready to get the new gasket on. Here we go. Oh, no, just... Ja, doch. Was ist denn der? Hey, hey, hey. Nee, das ist auch nicht. Was ist schön? Holy this thing. Holy. Alright, so here we go. We got the mower back together. Prime the fuel system, and let's give it a pull here. Set this down. Got good ignition, starts one pull easy, and runs really nice and even, nice, smooth. It's good. So that's a successful rebuild. There you go. See you guys next one.